Lazarus, a friend of Jesus, had fallen ill in the town of Bethany. His sister had sent someone to tell Jesus that Lazarus was sick. When Jesus had gotten the message, he realized that this was the doing of God. He waited 2 days before going to Judea again. When Jesus had announced to his disciples that he was going to Judea, the disciples had objected, for the town was near Bethlehem, where many wanted to stone Jesus. However, he said that he would go nevertheless. Thomas suggested to his disciples that they would go over with Jesus. Martha had heard the Lord was coming, and so she went to go meet him. Martha weeps and says that if he hadn't been here, her brother would have not died. And Jesus replies that her brother would rise again. Martha further explains that she knows that he will rise on the day of resurrection and on the last day. Jesus explains to her that he is the resurrection and of life. So those who believe in him, though may die, but they shall live. So Jesus asks her to get her sister Mary. Mary, like her sister, says that, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would have not died." Jesus had reached the tomb and asked if the tombstone could be removed. Martha, concerned, stated that, "Lord, by this time there would be a stench, because Lazarus had been dead for 4 days." Jesus reassures her and of the glory of God. Jesus then yells into the cave and asks Lazarus to come forth. And lo and behold, Lazarus walked out of the cave, wrapped in linen.
Illusion 1. I felt all the easier. A stone was rolled away from my heart. Besides, all the days I should now live would be as good as the days that Lazarus lived after his resurrection. Moby Dick, chapter 49. This alludes to John 1:1-44, which is when Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, after being dead for a total of 4 days. Jesus asked that Lazarus' tombstone would be removed, and had him come out of his grave. Ishmael, after being on the sea for so long, is rescued after a terrible shipwreck, and is saying that all his troubles have been lifted, just like the stone was lifted off of the resurrected Lazarus. Illusion 2. And he cried with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come forth." And he that was dead came forth. Crime and Punishment, 1866. This allusion is also in reference to the same quote, alluding to the story that Sonia is reading to Raskolnikov, an accused murderer. Eventually, later on in the story, Raskolnikov is reborn spiritually, forming a direct parallel to Lazarus being reborn at the hand of Jesus. Pop culture. David Bowie's last song ever released was called Lazarus, and it was released 3 days before his death. This song was meant to be a personal commentary on Bowie's impending death, as he had terminal cancer. He is pictured on his deathbed and retreats into a dark closet in the music video. But, like Lazarus, Bowie died but was almost reborn with this new song. It was his first top 40 single in 48 years, and his legacy still lives on to this day. Mercury, in Greek mythology known as Hermes, was the son of Jupiter and Maia. He presided over commerce, wrestling, and other gymnastic exercises. He was also the god of thieves and everything which required skill and dexterity. He was the messenger of Jupiter and wore a winged cap and winged shoes. He bore in his hand a rod or magic wand entwined with 2 serpents.
Mercurial is a word that relates to Mercury, a Roman messenger that originally appears in books or pop culture. When you see this allusion in literature, it typically means the author is trying to call someone fast, unpredictable, a liar, or clever. This allusion can be seen in the book Raymond's Run by Toni Cade Bambara. This piece of literature is about a girl named Squeaky who is a great runner and has a brother named Raymond who has a mental disability who wants to run. Squeaky stops her running career for a while to help coach Raymond. When the allusion Mercury appears in the story, kids are calling Squeaky quick. This is referring to Mercury because he was quick at sending messages back and forth because he was so rapid. Another example of this allusion in literature is seen in the book The Mercurial Mouse by Tammy. This piece of literature is a story of a mother and child. The child does what he wants to and doesn't like to do what his mother tells him to do. This allusion mercurial appears throughout the book. For example, the child was on the computer being really happy, but his mood changes when his mother says to get off the computer. This shows that the child is very mercurial, the illusion that describes someone's unpredictable sudden mood and change. Mercurial can also be found in pop culture. For example, since the word mercurial relates to the god Mercury, in 1987, a game named Final Fantasy that was made uses mercurial by having an accessory that is called the Mercury Sandals, and wearing the accessory would allow you to run faster and have a higher status in the game.